Okay, good morning everyone. I'm going to try this again and I'll do landscape mode. Here is the pasture garden, so segment 1. I'm going to do a walking tour of the whole thing, but here's like a pano view. So the Benton Acre landscaping is what I did in the last year during COVID. You can see right ahead of me are the massive bunch of golden lupine, but at this point they're kind of at the end of their prime. You can see along the boulevard is a lot of oak trees, and they all seeded themselves actually from acorns, so it's quite a nice oak woodland. As we walk along Benton Acre, lots of different flowers, elegant clarkia, those all were transplanted from the White Hawk property, which I'll talk to you about in just a second. Have lots of sages, the goldenrods, which are just starting to bloom. And then 3 really large sage plants. I've got penstemon in the back, blue phlox you can see in the morning sun. These just get brilliant, they're very pretty. And then you can see my red bellflowers, and I honestly can't think of the name right now. But the hummingbirds love those flowers. They come and touch each one of them. Got 2 large ones, and then the great gumweed plant. It's a really neat plant. It looks large and bushy, and it's grown a lot in the last year. At the front of the boulevard, it's a little bit hard to see, but I have fairy duster plants, snowdrop, native lilacs, a couple other plants, a California rose, and then way at the front of the property on Eureka, we planted seeds last year of Chinese houses, and they actually reseeded this year, so I'm quite thrilled about that. So now I'm going to come into the pasture area. The pasture is about, I'm guessing, like 1 acre. You can see, I'll do a quick pano view of this. That's the whole pasture. You can see the grasses are really tall right now. Earlier this spring you would be able to see all of the poppies, and I'll walk over there in just a second. But all along the fence line here, and apologies for the traffic, that's one of the downfalls of our property is Eureka Road. It's gotten quite busy. Lots of different native plants, and then bulbs. I planted about 300 bulbs this year. Not many came up, so I'm not sure what I did wrong. And also the animals kind of ate a lot of them, but I have a lot of varieties here. I won't go through every one, and you can tell a lot of things aren't quite in bloom yet. But one of my favorite sections under the oak woodland is the soaproot plant. It's a native plant. Native Americans used it for many uses. Maybe another segment I'll do a detailed download on the soaproot. Those were rescued from a residential development site as well here in Granite Bay. And then if I turn over here, I started landscaping this side. And it's a little bit hard to see because of the shade. The bush lupine I've already flowered out, and I've started doing native grasses and then lots of varieties of native plants. And then you can see here the view of the trail. So Phil and I put the trail in. We dug a spot out and then put shredded bark. One of my prized plants is the western redbud. That's actually grown. It's leafing out now. It's grown a lot in 1 year. I'm very happy with it. One thing I do want to show you, which I love, I didn't plant, Phil had these a long time ago on the property, are the western sycamore. So there's 3 large trees in the back. They're some of my favorite native California trees. But I'll do a quick walk up here on the trail, and you can see all along we planted lots of different native plants and bushes. And I didn't till because I kind of want it more natural. And so I have quail bush, poppies, and then elderberry bushes. And this is my prize elderberry bush. It's grown massively. It actually is a host to the elderberry beetle, which is a rare and also protected beetle. Along the pasture, I'm not going to actually walk it today, but you can see maybe up here I did plant several trees, cottonwoods, redbuds, many different oaks. There's the goldfinches. The goldfinches love what are called fiddlenecks. And you can see this bunch of fiddlenecks by the bench over there. Their flowers are already past their prime. They're really yellow, but then they seed, and goldfinches love that for food. And then all along here, I've got additional native plants. Again, a lot of it hasn't flowered yet, and some of it has flowered and is done. This sage behind the fence, which is behind the golden poppy or golden lupin, it's a really pretty sage, and the turkeys love laying in it too. Got all sorts of twin berries, currants, different rhymes. And all along the trail here, you see I've started landscaping. There's the blue flax again. I've got blue-eyed grass, flacia, just lots of different plants. And then you can see right here, which look like large weeds, but these are fiddlenecks, and have been eaten mostly by the goldfinches. You can see them over there. I'm gonna come out of the pasture for a second. On the right-hand side here of where I'm standing is what I call the White Hawk's Garden. The White Hawk's Garden is a rescue native garden from a residential development that was approved in Granite Bay. And myself, along with a lot of other residents, fought it, not because we're against development, but because it was approved at 55 units when it was supposed to be 11. So just kind of overkill, not to mention they're cutting down 800 oak trees. So it was kind of sad, but I did build a relationship with the development consultant, got approval to go in and take soil plugs. So Phil and I, over about 3 to 4 weeks in the evening and on weekends, right when COVID started last year, went out with wheelbarrows and buckets and pulled plugs. So there's lupin, clarkia, soaproot, fiddlenecks, different native grasses, a few other plants. I have them all documented. I ID'd them. On the other side of me, there's some sage and kind of a hodgepodge of stuff that I've been planting. Not all natives. There's a large native bush, but mostly natives. Over here, though, is my monarch way station. And you can see all the showy milkweed. So all of this showy milkweed is year 2. It reseeded really well. It's become a large patch. I haven't seen any monarchs yet, and for those that don't know, the western monarch is diminishing rapidly, so I thought I would do my part to host it, and hopefully we can get some passers through on their migration. And then through here, I'm not going to walk the trail, but I've got little frying pans, native grass stand that I'm trying to get established, and then little bushes all along the fence line here. So I'm trying to build up the bushes and have different structure throughout the pasture. And normally, when the grass isn't so high, and about a month ago, the poppies just filled that top hillside. Very, very beautiful. But it's a work in progress. At some point we're gonna mow, but there's too many lady beetles right now forming, and so we don't want to affect them. So that's it for the pasture garden, or my Bent Acre Nativescape.